Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my February TBR video for you, and I have quite the ambitious February TBR. I'm a little bit nervous because I have so much that I really want to read this month, and then in addition to that there is CanterburyRoadCo, which I also have a separate and very large TBR for, but I am very hopeful that I'm going to get a lot of these books read. I feel like I've been doing a spectacular job in January of reading the things that I really want to read. I'm thinking that that'll continue through February. I've got like quite a mix of things on my TBR for the month, and I'm just really excited about all of these books. So the first book that's on my TBR for the month is The Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken. This portion of the video is a paid promotion by Disney Book Group. This is the second book and final book in the Prosper Reading series, and I'm so excited because I really loved the first one and I've been really looking forward to reading the conclusion. Again, this is another one that I'll be able to tick off as a completed series once I finish reading this, which always feels really good. Just look at these end papers too. This was like one of my favorite things about the first book also. So this book will actually be out in stores on February 5th, and I actually have the first one right here, The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Reading. I had pre-ordered this one, so I have a signed copy and a little print of Batcat from Good Choice Reading, and I'm really glad that I did so because I ended up really loving this book. But obviously I don't want to spoil anything that's in the second book, The Last Life of Prince Alistair, so I'll give you a little synopsis of The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Reading. So in the series we follow a young boy named Prosper Reading, and Prosper discovers that he has a demon living inside of him. The demon is so funny, and he ended up being like my favorite character in the book. The reason that he's there is because Prosper Reading's like great grand whatever made some kind of pact with him, and then he double-crossed the demon. So he made a pact so that his family would be prosperous for the rest of their days, but then he ended up double-crossing the demon, and the demon is not pleased about that, so he has come back to take his revenge, and he is stuck living inside of Prosper. And the first book actually took place in Salem, Massachusetts, and it was so atmospheric and such a great, enjoyable, fun middle grade read. I loved it so much, so I've been highly anticipating reading this second one. They also sent me this super adorable book bow that actually has our demon here, and I'm pretty excited to use this while I read. The next book that I'm planning on reading in February is Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith. I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been told that it is like kind of loosely inspired by The Goose Girl, which I have not yet read and I need to do so, but I have heard good things about this one so far, and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. It follows a princess who disguises herself and goes and lives as a commoner in another land, and she ends up falling in love there, but then her past kind of comes to catch up with her, and it just sounds like it's going to be a great fantasy read. Next is a book that I'm going to be buddy reading with Alexa from Alexa Loves Books. We've decided that each month there's going to be like 1 to 2 books that we like really want to read to get off of our TBRs that have been sitting on our shelves that we have no excuse for not reading yet. So some of them ended up aligning between the two of us, and one of the ones that we're going to be buddy reading this month is Crazy Rich Asians. Neither of us can believe that we haven't read this yet. It's by Kevin Kwan. There is the movie about it that a lot of people seem to love, which I haven't seen yet because I wanted to read the book first. So I really want to do that. One of my coworkers actually just read it recently too, and she really loved it. I am super excited, and I am expecting that I will end up getting the rest of the series once I read this one, but this is probably going to be something I read within like the first week of February. And then the other book that I'm going to be buddy reading with Alexa from Alexa Loves Books is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. I know Holly from Holly Hearts Books is going to be so excited that the two of us are finally reading this. This has been on my TBR for quite a while, and she has said that it is very like heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, which is a game that Alexa and I have been playing monthly and loving along with our husbands, and we're both just like so into it. So I think that this will be the perfect fantasy read for us about a band of mercenaries who are past their day and they need to like get the band back together to team up to pull off one last job, and it just sounds like it's going to be so great. I would also very much like to read Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. This one was actually gifted to me by Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads for Christmas, so thank you, Chelsea. But I, in January, discovered that I love historical fiction. After buying a lot of historical fiction and then never picking it up, I ended up devouring 2 historical fiction books in January, and I loved them both so much. So now I just kind of want to read all of the historical fiction that I can find, and this one is one that I already have in my hands, so I definitely want to read this. And it's also part of Reese Witherspoon's book club, and I kind of want to read all of the books that she's had there. So yeah, this one, very excited to read. I also want to read The Waking Forest by Alyssa Wees. This one comes out in March, so I really want to have it read before then. I'm very highly anticipating this one. It takes place in a forest, which just speaks to me. I know that there are two different perspectives. One of them takes place like in the real world and one of them takes place within the forest, and I believe that it's like a queen, and the two storylines are going to intersect at some point, and there's like a wish that can be granted, and it just sounds great. Then, speaking of historical fiction, I also really want to read The Gown by Jennifer Robson. This is a historical fiction about like friendship. It follows the girl who made Queen Elizabeth's wedding dress, which is like one of the most famous dresses in history. So it really sounds up my alley because it also has that fashion element to it, and I'm so looking forward to reading it. It has dual timelines, so we're following the actual girls who made the dress back in 1947 in London, and then we're also following a character in Toronto in 2016, and I seem to like that format, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. Then the final two books on my TBR are The Art of Losing by Lizzie Mason. There is a chance that I might try to pick this up at the end of January. I still have like a couple of days left to go, but if I don't, it's definitely one that I'm planning on getting to in February. Lizzie is having a launch party at McNally Jackson on, I want to say February 19th, and I'm definitely planning on going to that, so I really want to have the book read before I go to the party. And lastly, I am still making my way through Wuthering Heights. I still have quite a ways to go. I'm only like 5-ish chapters into it. I've been reading it really slowly. I haven't been super loving it, which is why I've been reading it kind of slow. I will for sure finish it, if not in February, then definitely in March. I mean, I really wanted to finish it in January. I just know that I'm reading it very slow, so I don't have high hopes that I'm going to make my way through it in February with all of the other books that I have planned, but I will do it this year. Like, it's going to happen. Okay, so those are all of the books that I'm planning on reading in February, and very soon you will be seeing my CanterburyRoadCo TBR, which also has like a million books on it. But yeah, I'm continuing my ambition. I read more books in January than I usually do in the year, and some of them ended up being like very dense, long fantasy. So I do think that there's a good chance that I will get through like a big chunk of my TBR. Let me know if you have read anything that I mentioned. I'm really excited that I've been kind of like diversifying my genres, and I've got some historical fiction in there, which is a new love of mine. Let me know if you've read any of them, if there's anything that you think that I should prioritize, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Bye!